Welcome to Epic Yarn Gems. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the battle cap from the battle cap project. If you've seen any of my previous videos, I have done some work for this project. It is an awesome cause. It provides caps to those going through chemotherapy at no cost. Kurt at the Battle Caps project asked me if I'd be doing a video on a basic beanie. I was actually going to put one up this weekend, but then I said, wait a second, let me do your actual battle cap, and you can use that as a tutorial for anybody who is going to be helping you make these caps. So it's my pleasure to show you how to make the battle cap. The first thing is there are two types of yarn that you can use. One is from Premier and one is from Caron. It is the Simply Soft from Caron, and for this project I use the Premier every day in the color cream. You will also be using your 4.5 millimeter hook. So to get started, we're going to do a magic circle. We're going to wrap the yarn around our two fingers, and we're going to go under the first strand, pulling up the second and giving it a little twist. After you do that, you're going to do a chain 2. This is the start, and it does not count as a stitch. Then from here, you're going to do double crochets into the center of the circle. So by way of reminder, for a double crochet, you yarn over, go in through the center of the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through the last 2 loops. And you're going to do this until you have done that 12 times and you have 12 double crochets into the center of that circle. It's important to make sure that you have 12 because this is the foundation that you're going to start and you're going to build on all the way through the cap. So once you get to 12, you're going to give that tail a nice tug and you're going to close up that loop. Then what you'll do is you will go into the first stitch or underneath the first stitch and do a slip stitch join by yarning over, going under the loop, and going through your first loop that you already had on your hook. And there you have the start of your ring. After that, you are going to do a chain 2, and then you're going to do 2 double crochets in each stitch going around. You are going to start in the stitch that has the chain 2. So once you complete this row, you will have 24 stitches all the way around. After you complete that, you will join it again with a slip stitch join. The next thing in the next row you will do is you will do a chain 2, and then you will do 1 double crochet in that same stitch that you just did the chain 2. And then in the next stitch, you are going to put 2 double crochets into the same stitch. And that is going to be your pattern as you move around this row. So what you will be doing all the way around the row is you will do a double crochet in one stitch and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. When you get done with that, you will have 36 stitches in this row, and you will again join it with a slip stitch join. The next row, again, you'll start with a chain 2, and then you will do a double crochet into that first stitch that has the chain 2. Then you will do a double crochet into the next stitch, and then after that you will do 2 double crochets in the stitch after that, and that is the repeat pattern. So it's double crochet in the next 2 stitches, 2 double crochets in the next stitch. After you complete this row, you will again do a slip stitch join, and then you should have a total of 48 stitches. One piece of advice is as you are going through the hat, it's important to keep your tension the same so that the hat is uniform once you have completed. Also, it is a pretty tight stitch in order to make it the right size. Unfortunately, as I did this one, I did do looser stitches so that you would be able to see them a little bit better. But when you are completing the cap, it's important to keep your stitches as tight as you can. So going on to the next row, again, we're going to start with the chain 2, and then we are going to do a double crochet in that first stitch that we did the chain 2 in, and then we are going to do a double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then the stitch after that we are going to do 2 double crochets. So the pattern for this round is double crochets in 3 stitches followed by 2 double crochets in the next stitch. When you complete this round, you should have 60 stitches, and you will do a slip stitch join to begin the next row. I also want to give you another couple little hints on this. Sometimes when you're working this to keep the stitch tight and the size correct, you may want to increase or decrease your hook size depending on how loosely or how tightly you are able to do each of these stitches. A couple other little tips is if you're making a hat for a smaller person or a larger person, you may want to increase or decrease the number of these rows that we're doing. These are called increase rows, and you may want to stop here and then move on to the next part of the cap. But I'm going to go through the entire pattern if you were doing it for just a average size person. So to start our next round, we'll start with the chain 2, and then we'll do a double crochet in that same stitch as the chain 2, and then we will do double crochets in the next 3 stitches, and the stitch after that we will do 2 double crochets into that stitch. So the pattern for this round is double crochet in the first 4 stitches followed by 2 double crochets in the 5th stitch. To do this, you will get 72 stitches when you're done, and you will have a slip stitch join at the end to join to the beginning of the round. I wanted to flip the camera a little bit here to give you a different angle of where we're putting these stitches. So here is more of a straight on view where you can see we're yarning over and we're going underneath those 2 V's, pulling up a loop, yarn over and going through the next 2 loops. And we'll continue that all the way around, and I just wanted you to see that we're going underneath both of those V's. So we're working on the final increase, and here we will again start with the chain 2, and this one what you're going to do is you're going to do a double crochet again in that first stitch that has the chain 2, and then you're going to do double crochets in the next 8 stitches. After you complete that, you're going to do 2 double crochets in the stitch after that. So the pattern is double crochets in the first 8 stitches followed by 2 double crochets in the 9th stitch. When you get done with that, you should have a total of 80 stitches, and you will do a slip stitch join to the beginning of the round to finish off. Just for your information, usually when I'm doing this I do crochet a little loose, so I usually don't get to this round just simply because my hats get a little too big if I do this, but this is the pattern, so if you are crocheting tightly, this will give you the right size battle cap. So what we'll be doing for the next several rounds is we'll be starting our round with a chain 2. The first double crochet will go into that same stitch, and then we'll be just doing double crochets all the way around. At the end you will do a slip stitch join and then start your next round. You will be doing this for rows 7 through 14, and you will have a total of 80 stitches in each of your rows. Just by way of reminder that if you may have to make the battle cap a little shorter, you may not want to go all the way down to 14 rounds. You may want to stop at 13 or even 12 depending on the size that you're working on. As you finish your last row, you're going to start with a new color. That's part of what makes a battle cap a battle cap. And for this, I did use Premier yarn in the color black. So at your last stitch of your rounds that you were previously doing, you can see you have 1 stitch left. And what you're going to do is yarn over, go under that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops. But right there you're going to stop and you're going to add your next color. And you're going to pull that through the last 2 loops to finish off that double crochet. You're going to want to give all your tails a little tug just to make sure that they're nice and tight. Then you're going to finish your slip stitch join by going underneath that first stitch. And what I do is I lay the first color over the hook, and this helps me carry my yarn up to the next rows. And so I put that in front, and then in this case I'll pull the black all the way through and do a slip stitch join. You're going to want to give little tugs again on those tails to make sure that they're tight, and I do my chain 2. After my chain 2, I am not one for putting in or cutting or weaving in my ends, and I just really don't like to do it. So what I do is I lay it down over the stitch I'm going to do, and then I just do my normal stitch right over the top. So here I'm doing a double crochet, but as you can see I've laid that one piece of tail down. I yarn over, pull up a loop, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the next 2. And I do that all the way down, and that secures that color change for me, but do whatever works best for you. We're going to finish up this round, and as we finish up, we're going to be doing another color change in the next row, and we're going to do pretty much the same thing we did for this color change. On that last stitch, we are going to go through and use, in this case, the black yarn to do the last double crochet, but we are going to stop halfway through. When you have 2 loops on your hook, we are going to pull in that new color to finish off the um, color change or that row, and then we're going to start and we're going to go right underneath that first stitch of the row and do a slip stitch join, just like we had done in the previous row. And how we're going to finish off this cap is after we do a row of the white stitches or cream stitches, we are going to do another color change back to the black, same as we had done before, and then we're going to do 2 rows with the secondary color, which is black in this case. And then to finish it off, we will do one last color change back to our original color and do another row of those double crochets. I finish off my project with an invisible join where I will just pull the loop through, or I'll pull the tail through, put a tapestry needle on there, and I will go underneath the join or the first stitch of the row and then come back and go through the center of the last stitch of the row, of the same row. And it really does make it look like it is a stitch, and then after that I will be putting in the or weaving in the ends, and there you go, you will have a completed battle cap. It has really been my pleasure to be able to share this tutorial with you. Like I said, the battle cap project is an awesome cause. I will be putting the link down in the description so that you can check it out, and I hope you all have a great day.